Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast number 2257, Making Space for What Matters. Yes, it has been a very busy day. I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning. Couldn't get back to sleep. Even tried reading for a little bit before trying to go back to sleep. It didn't work. And then I was like, screw it, I'll just get up. So I actually came in here and started working on the weekly newsletter, which I haven't finished yet. I got the basics done. I just got to pull it all together and get it scheduled to go out tomorrow morning. So that's part of tonight's job. That was around... My alarm started going off around 5. I brought the alarm clock in here with me, so I didn't have to go running for it. That started going off around 5, and then I was sort of like, oh, let me work on this a little longer, and then I will go and shower, dress, and all that sort of stuff, and then have breakfast. And so it was getting close to 6:30, and I was like falling asleep at the computer. And I was like, that's it. I'm going back to bed for an hour. Going to go take an hour nap and then get up, get dressed, have breakfast, and then we're going to get the day underway. So did all of that, and it was probably around 9 by the time I got started. I was determined to get one room finished. I've got this one room that was just been all boxes. Some of the boxes I've been through, some of them I haven't, which was obvious when I opened up one box and started going through it and went, I have a second sewing machine? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I had a second sewing machine. And I was like, what's this big thing in here with it? And I opened it up and it was a brand spanking new dartboard. And I was sort of like, oh, yeah, we're selling that. And there were some other little bits and pieces in there. So like, yeah, no, we're not keeping any. And I think out of the entire box, we kept nothing. Is it nothing we kept? We didn't keep anything in that box. No. There was one item I kept in the box, and it is a curved frame, and it has and somebody had hand painted it and had it hand painted for us, and it had Helen and Brad, and it had our wedding date on there, but there's never been a photo put into the frame. So I thought, yeah, we've got to fix that. So that's the only thing I kept out of that box. That was one of those tall boxes that sort of like come up to here. A sewing machine was in there on its side, and it still had about this much room on top. So it tells you sort of the size. It was a larger, extra large box. The sewing machine was in there on end. There's a dartboard in there with it, and then there's all these other little bits and pieces that were all wrapped up very well with bubble wrap and all of that. And I unwrapped everything out of that box, and the only thing I'm keeping from that box is this one curved frame that has our wedding date on it, and it's got a place for us to put our wedding picture in there. So must do that. We meant to do that, and I remember that frame. I thought, oh, it's such a pretty frame that somebody got in us, and I wanted to put our picture in there, and I've never done it. So that's going to be one of the tasks when I get down to New Zealand. And speaking of New Zealand too, when I moved down there, I said to my parents last night, I said, I've been thinking about this. Rather than buying as soon as I get down there, I think I'm going to rent for a year. And if I rent for a year, then it lets me get to know the area that they live in and the areas that I want to live in, and see where I want to live before I go and buy a place. And so get to know the people in the area, get to know the area, the businesses, that sort of thing, and figure out where it is in that area I actually want to live. And they thought that was a brilliant idea. I was like, cool, excellent. And it was actually kind of fun, because then I went through and started looking on the renting side, and there's one that's becoming available on like the 24th of November, which is just after I get there. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. So yeah. So going down there in November, and we'll see about that one. My stuff will be arriving. They said it's going to take 12 to 14 weeks for my stuff to get down there, which puts us somewhere in January. And you're probably going, but why would you rent a house in like November if your stuff's not going to arrive till January? I have this worked out. So here's the plan. So the plan is, if I find this was the plan if I was going to buy a house before my stuff arrived. I could easily do that. I already have a couch. I already have a dining table with chairs. I already have a fridge freezer, and they're all at my mum and dad's place. And you're probably going, what? My brother moved, and the house he moved into already had a dining table, so he offered me his dining table and chairs. I said, yes, thank you. So they're sitting at my mum and dad's place. My mum and dad had friends who stayed with them for about 4 or 5 weeks before they left to go back home to England, and they had this really cool couch that mum and dad said, oh, bring it on over here. They took a picture of it and says, what do you want it? And I says, yeah. I says, is it comfortable? They go, yes. And I said, well, how long is it? They gave me the measurements and everything. So I was kind of had this mental picture. And they sent me a picture of it. And my first response was, it's purple. Yes. But my parents now send me, oh, we had a lovely nap on your couch this afternoon. And so apparently I have a very comfortable couch waiting for me that everybody wants to sleep on or sit on and sleep on and that sort of stuff too. So, yeah. So I'm looking forward to finally being able to sleep on my own couch, which they've had for me for a while, almost a year. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to sleeping on that. And then they had a friend who they wanted to borrow. She knew that she had a spare. I'm not sure exactly how the fridge freezer thing came about, but somehow it's mine when I arrive. I think they borrowed it from somebody who found out I was coming down and said I could have it or something. I don't remember the whole fridge freezer story, but I have a fridge freezer down there in my parents' place, which gets used every now and again when they have people staying and they need an overflow area and that sort of stuff. So I'm kind of excited about that now. And so now I'm keeping an eye out, not only for places to purchase, but also for places to rent, because I feel that if I rent for a year, I'll get a better idea exactly where in the region where my mum and dad live that I actually want to live myself. And I think, and I'm feeling a lot better about that too. Same thing is that I'm getting energized today as I was emptying boxes and stuff. I would like look around and go, oh, look at all this carpet in this room. I have, and that big box that I had the sewing machine in and the thing, it's like I said, it stands about this tall. It's now full of recycling stuff. All the paper that was wrapped around the stuff is now in there, along with a pile I was making of recycling stuff of magazines and brochures and stuff. I've had to find another box to put the shredding stuff into. And my keep pile out of that one is quite because there was a lot, because I opened up one box and it was all my sewing stuff. It was fabrics, a shoebox full of patterns. There was what else was in that box? It was fabrics and patterns mainly. And so like there were some boxes when I opened them, I was sort of like, yeah, this whole box goes. There was one that I went down further in and I found something that belonged to something that I already had out. And I'm like, I'm glad I did that, because when I come to sell it, I need to have that piece to go. Oh, it was the power pedal for the sewing machine. But I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure if it's which sewing machine it belongs to. I have to open it both cases to have a look. And then there was another one. It was just all scrapbooks in there, brand new scrapbooks of stuff that I haven't used yet. I've got all the scrapbooking supplies and everything else, so they're all coming down with me. What else was in there? Oh, and then I packed up some boxes with books in them. So I had a big pile of books sitting in there that I was going to keep, but I went through it again, and there was some sort of like, I really don't need that one. I don't need that one. So I did cull some of the books that were in the boxes there, but that were on the floor, and managed to get them into boxes. So it was just a great day of sorting and getting rid of stuff. And I now have another box sitting in the, because I opened up one box and it was all the stuff from the guest room we'd had back in Solana Beach that was for the grandkids. So it had the covers in there, it had the soft toys in there, and it had the, so I just put all that back into there, put a big donate on the tab, and that box was half full by the time I finished sorting through it, because it was I've had this trying to remember what it is. It's Battenberg lace. And so I'd say, is it a duvet cover? That's Battenberg lace. And I've got matching pillowcases. And so I've got white sheets to go with it. It's all white and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I hadn't been able to find it, and it was at the bottom of this box. So I was like, yes, I found my Battenberg, yay. And probably finally put it to use, which means I'm going to have to iron it and all that. So I'm going to need to buy an iron when I get down to New Zealand. But we'll worry about that when the boxes arrive. So it was a great day of discovery and finding things. And yes, there were some memories that came back, but none of them affected me emotionally, which was awesome. I was in soul sort mode. It was like, we've got to get through the stuff, There is a pile, and then I opened up one box and it was a pile of stuff. And I was like, yeah, I don't have time to go through that right now. I wanted the big stuff. I wanted the quick decision. Let's get this done stuff. And so when I came to the boxes that had like lots of little stuff in it and looks like a lot of paperwork and stuff, that box was carried out to the family room. I have a pile of bags and boxes out there now. That I moved out from that room to go through tonight. And my goal every night is to do a minimum of 2 boxes. And we're talking like the 18 by 18 by 18 type boxes. And if I don't have an 18 by 18 by box to go through, I can do more smaller ones. But I've got a pile in there of recycle. I've got a pile of shred. In fact, my shred box is overflowing, so I need to find a new box to put all that shredding stuff in. But it's just been absolutely amazing being able to go through this stuff, and not getting tired was the best part. And I got to I looked at my watch and sort of feeling like a little hungry, and looked at my watch and it was like 12:30, and we had made major progress by then. So then we had to stop for lunch. And when I sat down for my lunch, I'm listening to, what's the name of that book I'm listening to? Whenever I sit and eat, I always have an audio book on. And the one I'm listening to right now is called The First Gentleman, and it's by Bill Clinton and James Patterson. I love James Patterson, but Bill Clinton has teamed up with James Patterson. This is their third book together. And in the first book, the president goes missing. He purposely loses his detail, his security detail, to take care of what he needs to take care of while he's president. Then in the second book, it's an ex-president, and his daughter gets kidnapped, and he launches his own rescue mission to go and get her. And this one here, it's The First Gentleman, and he's currently on trial for murder from 17 years ago. So I've still got an hour and 58 left to go. So I've got almost 2 hours left to go on this. It's really cool. So anytime I can sit down to eat a meal or have an afternoon snack or whatever, I'm putting that on while I'm listening, so I can listen to it. So that's been good. So I got to listen to that during lunchtime, afternoons, breakfast, lunchtime, afternoon snack. And I haven't done dinner yet, so I'll get to listen to some more tonight. But it's getting really good. Yeah, like I said, The First Gentleman is currently, and The First Gentleman is the president's husband. Yeah, she's back in DC while he's in somewhere up in New England on trial for murder from 17 years ago. When he was hang on, I'm going to get this right. He was a New England Patriot football player, and he was secretly, yet everybody knew about it, dating one of the cheerleaders. And apparently that's against code, that the cheerleaders and the football players are not allowed to date. This cheerleader suddenly disappears. They find her body 17 years later. He gets charged with the murder of it. He's currently on trial, and it's actually really, and all these people are dying all around the place because people are trying to keep the secret and not get it out. And I'm like, there's a twist. There's twists coming up, because I know from reading their previous 2 books that there's always some twists coming in. And I'm like thinking, okay, The First Gentleman isn't the one who actually killed her. He had been seen with her that night. So who actually killed her and buried her up there and tried to frame the First Gentleman on this? So it's a really cool book. So I'm looking forward to going down and listen to that while I have dinner tonight. So the sorting has, like I said, it's gone really, really well today. And I'm like, I need a few more days like this, a few more days where I can just get in there and just sort. So we got a good, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 1 in total, with taking out the snacks and the lunch break and stuff, we got about 6 hours of sorting done today, and it feels awesome. Except for when I walk down my hallway, because I've got boxes. Thankfully, I have a very wide hallway. I've got boxes in the hallway. I've got boxes sitting over here, and these ones are staying, but I've got nowhere to put them right now. So as I'm started clearing out this other room, this room I've been clearing out today. Now that I've got most of that area done, as soon as you walk in the door straight ahead, that's kind of like almost cleared. I can start putting the stuff going to New Zealand. I can start putting that into that space while I clear the other boxes that are on the other two walls. Because that one across there, I've got one box on that wall, got a couple of boxes on that. Yeah, so I'll start putting the stuff going to New Zealand on this wall while I sort. Most of the other ones are already sorted because they have a date on them already. I just got to go in and verify that we are still sending them off. So actually, I had a whole bunch of notes here. Let's see, where are we done with our notes? There's something powerful about clearing space. Absolutely. Not just on the shelves or in the cupboards, but in our lives. Each item we release, each box we close, makes room for something new, a breath and a possibility, a bit of peace. Absolutely. I will tell you that. I've been experiencing all of that today. As I've been sorting through belongings, often sorting through memories. I haven't had to pause for those trips down memory lanes as much today as I have in the past. Today, the mentality was, we got to get this room done. We've got to get stuck in and get this room done. And letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing what carries forward. And I haven't had any emotional reactions to anything today, which has been unusual, considering the fact every time I've been doing sorting, I come across something where I end up in a pile of goo on the floor for a few minutes. But I haven't had any of that today. No niggles, tickles, or anything like that. No sort of like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. I mean, even when I saw the picture frame that has our wedding date on it, that somebody hand painted for us, that curved one, I was like, oh, I keep forgetting to put a photo in that one. Yeah, that one's definitely coming with us, and everything else in the box is being sold or gone or donated. So yeah, so I was going through that. Every cleared space is a silent invitation for what's next. Absolutely, we're narrowing stuff down. Progress isn't just about decluttering, it's about reconnecting with what truly matters. And I always say a lot of today has been sort of like, open the box and go, all right, let me dig down here and see if there's anything underneath, because I can see what's on top, what's underneath it that I need to worry about. And so like, okay, this whole box is like donate, or this whole box is like, okay, we've got stuff to sell, or this whole box is sort of like, it's going, and just closing it, writing on the top October 2025, because that's the date, that's the month I went through it. Anything with October 2025 on it is going to New Zealand. And I'm only and I've got some that already have September on there. I had come across a box that was like June or July of this year. So every month when I put on there the month and the year that I sorted through it, so I know. And some of them are even from November of 2027 October 2027 October 2017 when Brad passed. We had a whole bunch of boxes in the garage. We had something like 400 boxes, and we got them down to 90 in the month that my mum and dad were there. They helped me go through and sort. Was it yesterday? Last night. I think it was last night or the night before. I came across poems that I had written for my two grandfathers when they had passed away. And they'd passed away within a year, it was a year and 3 days apart. My mum's dad went first, and then my dad's dad went the following year. And I've got these two poems I've written. I've got their obituaries taped in there, but I can't read the obituaries because the tape's gone all yellow. So I can't read the obituaries that's there. So I'm going to have to go find those, get another copies of those. And again, it was sort of like, take a quick look at it. Can't read the obituary. We'll put that aside for now and carry on. That goes in the keep pile over here. So yeah, so it's been, let's get in there. It's just been, when I first started, it was sort of like, oh, this is really cool. And sit back and have a look through it. And then as we've been starting to get more and more sorting down, it's sort of like being quick decisions. And then having those boxes that are just full of paper. What papers do we need to keep? And at one point I sat down on the floor and went through this one box. I'm like, why am I sitting here on the floor doing this? And this little voice says, you need the box. I don't need the box. I need to go through this box. I need to put this in the other room so we can get sort through. So like, well, you're sitting on the floor, right? You might as well do it right now. And I was like scared I wasn't going to get up. But I got up. It was okay. There's sometimes I worry about if my legs are going to work properly, but I got good, strong legs, so they worked. And we got a lot of stuff done. Let's see. We start recognizing the stories attached to our things. Yes, totally had that. We learn to appreciate what stays rather than mourn what goes. Absolutely did that. We realize that lightness, physical or emotional, gives us freedom. I have been getting more energized as the day's gone on. I know that sounds crazy because I've been working so hard today and dragging boxes around and picking boxes up, carrying them around and putting stuff where it needs to go and all that sort of thing has been very draining on the body. But at the same time, I'm fully energized because as I am like, well, this is getting donated, that's going in the sell pile, that's trash, that's recyclable. As I've been doing that, it's been energizing. We see the space itself can feel sacred when created with intention. Absolutely. How we carry it forward, we celebrate the small wins. Each item sorted is energy reclaimed. That's why I've been feeling so more energized as I've gone throughout the day. I've been keeping hydrated throughout the day. Every time we stop for like a meal or a snack, it's been having a drink of something with electrolytes in it to help replenish those. Between that, it was this thing kept me going. And if you didn't hear the chocolate story, so yesterday, my doorbell goes, I'm like, who the heck's ringing my? And I thought maybe it's the next door neighbor, because I know that he's interested in some of the stuff that I have in the garage, and he's already got a couple of chairs and stuff, in the folding chairs, and so I thought maybe he's coming over, seeing if seeing how I am or anything like, because he's a good neighbor. And so I opened the door, and there's this young man standing there, and he was raising money for their school choir. For the trip that they've got coming up. And their trip is that they go around different places in Arizona and put these shows on, but it is a show choir where they actually have costume changes. They have these little skits. They have different costumes for different songs. And so, of course, they've got all that expense and everything else. And I'm sort of like, well, how much are the bars? He goes, $1. I says, wait one. And we've still got the screen locked between us. And so I go and I have a look at my handbag. I only have a $20 bill. So I go back and say, I've only got a $20 bill, so let's start counting. I didn't even bother asking if they had change or something. And so I got these, they're like about this long. They're like about this thick. They're not a big candy bar, but I got 20 of them. And I got some with wafers. There was a creamy one. There was a dark chocolate one. There was one with almonds. And then there was, did I say dark chocolate? I think I ended up with like 5 different flavors. And he goes, oh, we've got the milk chocolate here. I go, no, I don't like milk chocolate unless it's got something in it. And he goes, really? He says, those are our most popular ones. I says, then you'll definitely be able to sell those. But I took all of the dark chocolate he had. I got most of the waffles, the wafers, most of the Krispy Kreme ones. That's what it was. Krispy Kreme ones. Most of the almond ones. And I think that was about it. And meanwhile, one of his teammates come and go, she's got a shirt on for the school choir. I says, where's your shirt? He says, he looks at me and he goes, I kind of ran late this morning, so I didn't get time to put it on. And so that's when I was finding out that they're actually a show choir and what they're going to be doing, and asking where their trip was going to be. And it's going to be all around Arizona that they're going to be going. But they said mainly we're raising money for the costumes. And I was sort of like, well, congratulations, and talked with them for a little bit and then sent them on their way, and got my 20 bars and went and put them on the counter so I could take a picture of them, and they're now sitting in my fridge. So I've had one today. Yeah, I've only had one today. That was during my afternoon snack. Had one for an afternoon snack with my protein bar, with my protein shake and my protein bar. It's a lot of protein. Been doing lots of protein for the energy. So that was my chocolate story from yesterday. And the funny thing was I had just had a piece of chocolate that morning, which was my last piece of chocolate that I had in the house. And I was like, damn it, I'm going to have to go to the market and get some more chocolate. And then they were at the door, and I'm like, yay, I don't need to go to the market and get chocolate anymore. So celebrate the small ones. Each item sorting is energy reclaimed. Absolutely. I've been getting more energized as the day's gone on, and stuff has been cleared. I've been sort of like, this feels really good. And you feel like the weight's been lifted off the shoulders. But one thing you can do, you can ask when you are sorting is, does this support the person I am becoming, before saying yes to keeping it? makes a big difference. Honor what you let go by expressing gratitude for its role in your journey, and notice how a little more space shifts your energy and mindset. I will tell you this, seeing that carpet appear in the room, it's like, this is so cool. Because I had boxes around the edge of the room, and then I had a row up the middle, and I've almost done the row up the middle. I've got 2 boxes left to do. Actually, no, one of them I have done. I've written on the outside. I just haven't moved it. And I'm like looking at putting it into the corner where that big box was that I took everything out of. The things we keep and release both tell our story. In choosing what matters most, we shape how our story will be remembered, not through clutter or chaos, but through calm and clarity. So I even have questions for you guys tonight. I got to get back. I got to go do some more sorting. It's going to be my evening, is sitting on the couch watching Rosemary in Time. And if you haven't seen Rosemary in Time, it is Rosemary Boxer and who's her counterpart? I think it's Laura Time. And Rosemary is a anthropology botanist or something, a forensic anthropology botanist, something like that. And she gets called to go do these jobs, and while she's doing these jobs, and she picks up Laura in the first episode. And Laura used to be a policewoman, and her ex-husband is a police officer, and her son is a police officer. So they've kind of teamed up, and they go and do these jobs, and she has a love for gardening. And so the 2 of them team up and go around and do these different jobs that they get called to come and see, why is my ground going brown in spots? I need it to be green. So they'll do that. And while they're there, some mystery happens. And they help solve it. And it's on BritBox. If you have BritBox, it's on that. It's my second time through the series. There's only 3 seasons of it. But it's a really cool series. It's a little bit of comedy, a little bit of drama. It's kind of cool. All right, so your reflection questions. 4 reflection questions. I got to get moving. What did you release today that felt freeing? Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. Number 2, how does physical space influence your emotional energy? Number 3, what items hold meaning because of their story rather than their use? And number 4, how might creating space invite someone new into your life? And in closing, clearing space is not about losing things. It's about finding yourself again. Yes, can totally agree with this. One small decision at a time. And with that, I am out of here. I got more sorting to go do. I've got to take the trash out. I have to take the trash out tonight. I've got to go do the recycling in the trash. Pick up those bags. Each room I have a trash bag in, so I've got to go pull all those together. And I also have a recycling box, and I've got to go throw that into the recycling bin and get them out tonight so they get picked up tomorrow. Oh, excuse me. So with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. I know I'm going to.